This is the violent gentleman, Tommy Jackson. You're watching CCP podcasting. Stay inevitable.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome back to Beyond the Bell. I am Chris Page. I'm flying solo tonight because my main man, John Cable, is under the weather. Guys, if you would have heard him a few minutes ago, you wouldn't have wanted him on the show. But I'm going to try to handle this one by myself. That takes me back to my older days of conducting interviews with various talents back in Alabama back in the day. I got a good one on deck today. I've been trying to get this guy nailed down. He is busy. Not only is he working the indie circuit, he is producing with a production company. He has got a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts. He's tremendous inside the ring. Currently wrestling out of the great state of Georgia. Platinum Championship Wrestling's World Heavyweight Champion. He's done a lot of work with Deep South Wrestling. Classic Championship Wrestling, Intense Wrestling Entertainment. By the time this show airs, you've seen him on. Sorry, I'll get it right. It just takes a second. Reality of Wrestling. We're talking about the man known as Najasism. What's going on, dude? It's good to have you on the show.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. I figured
the greatest, the baddest, the best. The Najasism, Najasism. Yes, I'm live. I'm in color, and all I can say to you, well, you people is you're welcome. Yeah, it's great to see me. You're a Hoochie daddy.
I should have seen that coming. I was just literally about to say I watched the opening of Hoochie Daddy, and I should have saw that coming because you spat on a sign and threw your nose up in the air. It's good to see you, man. It's been a long time coming. I've got a lot to pick your brain about, a lot to talk to you about.
Let's do it.
I mean, let's jump straight in.
Are you going to talk about any of those losers you interviewed that I beat?
Oh, wow. Shots fired early.
BTA. You know what BTA stands for?
Go ahead and tell me.
I'm not going to say it, but I BTA'd all the other people you interviewed.
Oh, man. Oh, you beat... Oh, well...
Yeah.
Devil's advocate in hindsight 2020. I mean, I know that you've beaten them, but I think a couple of them have beaten you too, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what I've done. Let's not break that up.
In all seriousness, like before we dive into some of this stuff, like here's how I stumbled across you, and this I say on this channel all the time: professional wrestling brings people together. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean that wholeheartedly because our journey with this channel and into the independent scene specifically, I came across you through watching some stuff from Skrilla, which by happy stance, I guess you would say, over on YouTube, I'm watching some shit, and on the side it says, you may like this, right? There's a match. It wasn't, I forget who it was with, but I watched it, but I went to Skrilla's page, and the next match I saw on his page was a match with you. And immediately went to John, who's one of my partners, one of my co-hosts on the channel, and I was like, we need to get something with this guy on the air, match-wise, right? Because I know my channel, and I know my audience, and I know that my audience would eat that shit up. And boy, howdy, did they. Like, Georgia wrestling is becoming almost like Australian wrestling on my channel. It's like destination television. And I mean that. And that means that you guys, all of you guys and gals, are doing something right? Like, let's just be fair. When I saw your match with Skrilla, I was blown the fuck away. Not just with your athleticism, the transitioning, the styles that you can go. You're not limited to one thing or the other. Like, you are truly one of those guys in that ring that can do it all. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. It's a fact. You can go and watch it and see for yourself. And truthfully, it's almost like a breath of fresh air when you see the level of talent that some of you guys have just, and you're so young. It's unreal.
And you know what? The truth is, the 100% truth is, You're absolutely right. Keep talking about me. You're so,
See,
so right. You are hitting it right on the nail. Keep going.
I'm,
Tell them more.
I'm just
More.
saying, they say that the proof is in the pudding, and it definitely is when it comes to what you see coming out of Georgia and coming out of some of you guys that are there. And it's like, it's hard to describe, being in the industry 20 plus years ago to seeing where it is right now, and to see the level of competition that's out there. I'm very curious to know how you got started. And
Well, I will say, as you talk about Georgia, it's like a hodgepodge of styles. You have, you have your bruisers, your brawlers, you have your technicians. You have a lot of variety. Um, you're
there's
not
only
going to
one
get a lot
Naja.
of the.
There's only one Naja,
Hmm?
but there's only one Naja.
It's only one. It's only one. Greatest, baddest, the best. We know that, but it definitely is a good place to learn different styles, how to slow it down. You're not going to get a lot of fast paced wrestlers, so you're forced to learn storytelling here. But anyway, how I got started, I was doing music at the time, and I was performing at a venue that had wrestling playing on the big screen. I told this story multiple times. I was like, "Where's that?" They was like, "Oh, they have training here on Tuesdays." I was like, "Damn, I'm coming to wrestling training." It's like, "You're a musician, you're not coming to." I was like, "No, I'm coming. Trust me, I'll be there." First day, what do you call it? I was doing the split leg and moon. So I just was doing stuff that I've seen all these years on TV. I was a natural, because I had already trained in, I guess, combat sports. Growing up, I boxed, I did MMA, and I was captain of the wrestling team, stuff like that. So I was always used to doing what you would call it combat sports, I guess. But yeah, I always had a love for wrestling. I think growing up more so, I never, we always play like we're a wrestler and do the moves and have the cardboard belts or the belts we bought from the store, or we're out there with the friends and doing all of that, right? Have our own federation. And from a very young age, I always had this book, and I had like maybe 50 wrestling toys and other toys, but I had everyone in storylines. I had a book with who was feuding with who. I had the book written down because I would have the boombox next. I would have the radio. Set the damn boombox. I would have the radio next to me while I'm doing my wrestling show, so I had the list of who had what interest music. So I was that detailed at a very young age about wrestling. I don't know if I ever watched it just as a fan. I think subliminally, I was always studying it. I think I was always studying at a young age. I don't think I ever watched it just as a fan. I watched how people sold. I watched how people punched, and yeah, that's how I got into it.
I have
Yep.
I have a story of my own. So you're talking about your figures and the radio with the interest music. So bro, back in God damn, I can't believe I'm saying this story. This is gonna date me so bad. Late '80s, we used to have big fucking square pillows. So for a kid, it was really big, right? You already know where this story's going. I would do something very similar. I would wrestle the pillow in the basement of our house, and I would have entrance music, and we would do little and the wrestling buddies, of course, were a big thing back then. So I was doing like jumping off the couch, doing like splashes and shit at like 8 years old. It was
Now for me, I'm definitely afraid of heights now. Not afraid. I'll jump off stuff, but I'm with fear. But at a young age, one of my pastimes was just getting out of school, climbing on the roof of the house, jump off, climb on the roof of the house, jump off, backflip off the house, front flip off the house. I did all of that crazy shit. I don't know why. What possessed me to jump off roofs all the time? Like, no matter who house I was at, I had to climb on the roof and jump off of it. Now, you probably wouldn't even get me to get halfway up the roof because I'm not doing that. I don't know.
You're like,
There's a lot of stuff we did when we were younger that we were wrestling fans. Wrestling had us thinking that anything was possible, I believe.
Sure, and that's it. It's a wrestling suspension of disbelief for the most part. When you started, watching from a younger age, who were some of the guys that influenced you? Who were some of your can't misses?
Sean is always a can't miss. Brad, Ric Flair, the personality of Ric Flair. I went back and watched a lot of Ricky Steamboat stuff. I really appreciate, as far as tag teams, the Steiner brothers. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Randy Savage, yeah. Oh yeah, all that. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, AJ Styles. Those are my people. Oh, and RVD, of course.
Well, I mean,
so
everybody likes
all those people, all of them. To this day, yeah, it's crazy. Like Sean RVD's names are usually included in passwords and stuff like for some reason, I still have their names a part of passwords for like my computers, iPads, all that crazy stuff.
Well, it kind of makes sense to see those names in your list, considering if anybody's seen you in the ring, there's some definite patterns that are there style wise, with
selling wise and style, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're quite the entertaining gentleman inside the ring, and we'll get to some of that here in just a little bit, because that's just a little small piece of your character. And how you've really kind of turned the scene up a little bit, in my opinion, just from what I've gathered and what I've seen.
And when we get into the character stuff, I'm really going to break down some character stuff when we really get into that. But yeah, just remind me when we get to it.
Oh, I'm not going to let you forget that. That's your. I'm telling you, you have a way of commanding an audience. It's really, it's entertaining in an entertaining way. What year was it when you said that you were going into training, when you just showed up? What year was that?
I think that was early 2011, because that was when I think Xavier Woods was getting ready to sign with WWE right before he had signed, and he was coming to us to PCW, helping us train and stuff like that. And I think he always saw something in me, and always tried to push me, even when I wasn't ready and stuff like that. But yeah, and just over when I first started wrestling, I would get into, like, when I first started, I didn't really know much about indie wrestling. I didn't really know. I was just a WWE, WCW, ECW fan, and some of the Japanese wrestlers, I was a fan of those, but I didn't really know anything I didn't know anything about the indie wrestling scene, so we kind of stayed at home. We wrestled at PCW and maybe one or two shows in Alabama, a little other shows within the surrounding areas, and I got unhappy about how some booking and stuff was going, so that's when I started to venture out a little bit. But then eventually I left the business for a few years, and what you're seeing now is what has resurfaced since I came back in 2021. Yeah.
Well, see,
because I'm a different wrestler from when I was a rookie to when I'm wrestling now.
Sure. I mean, again, if you take a break, you're obviously still going to be consuming some content. You're going to see some stuff that that you can do. And I want to go.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I realized that whole break that I was studying the whole time, even though I never had the thought of coming back to wrestling, I just realized I was learning.
And that's part of, like, it's weird. I get it 100%. It's like, even now when we watch the independent stuff, you'll get a question at the end of the show, give me a handful of guys that I need to watch. Well, the cat's out of the bag, spoiler alert. I'm not just watching those handful of guys that you send me, because I don't, you know what I mean? Like, when I find matches, I don't know what I'm seeing. That's part of the genuine reaction, right? Like, if I know what's coming, I can't be truthful and I can't be honest. But I'm watching the guys that they're in the ring with as well. So you're giving me 5 or 6 guys, but you're really giving me 12. You know what I'm saying? 12. That's how it's studying. It's studying the game. If I see what I like, well, I'm gonna want to watch more, right? And then
Right.
that's as a fan of the industry. Um, when you got into your training, this is a question that if John was here, he'd ask you, and if I didn't ask you, he'd probably cuss me out for it.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the training aspect of the industry, and he loves asking. You know, we see you in the ring now. You're very fluid. You're very on point. Your timing is almost damn near impeccable. There have been a very few instances where I've seen something that was a miscue or something of that nature. Your recovery rate on something like that is really quick and in a hurry. It's great. It's really good to see. You know, we see what you do well. When you were coming in and training, what was something that took you a little bit to get the hang of, or something that maybe you didn't catch on to as quickly as you would, you know, split-legged moonsault in day one?
So I will say this: calling a match and just wrestling was easy. Within my first 6 months, I was in a best of 7 with a guy, pretty experienced vet. And at best of 7, we didn't call anything. We wrestled 7 different matches. Didn't talk about anything. Yeah, literally, we didn't talk outside of the ring either. Like, we weren't friends or anything. We just had good chemistry in the ring, and we wrestled 7 matches. As a rookie, I wrestled 7 matches. So nothing really was hard. At that time, for me, the one thing I would always get fussed at about was slowing down. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. And the crazy thing about it is the way I moved is what the business evolved into, you know? And I kind of felt like I saw what direction the business was going, and that was the style I was wrestling. But they couldn't see it at that point in time. I felt like, you know, when I look back on it now, hindsight, you know.
Yeah, well, sure. This is also, you know, 12 years ago at this point, right? Like, you know.
I think that would be one thing. Another thing would possibly be, I mean, that's the only thing I could really think of, honestly, slowing down and maybe being more open to, like I said, we didn't learn that much, you know, respecting the people who came before me, maybe getting more advice for them, and maybe, I think that's a flaw, like I wasn't that open to talking to vets and getting advice and learning more about the business because, like I said, you know, I had other things I was working on. So you kind of like the know-it-all personality. Like, yeah, I'm a good wrestler, blah, blah, blah. But in actuality, I didn't know anything about the business at the time. I just was having fun wrestling.
I mean, truthfully, that's kind of where it all starts for everybody. If you don't have fun with what you do, and then it's going to translate. It's going to show. People are going to see through it. You know, cause people can see through fake easy. It's just, if you can't, you don't have common sense. I don't know what to tell you. When you broke away, is this where? Because I said you got a lot of moving parts, and before we're really going to dive into wrestling, and I want to talk a little bit about your production company.
Just get a little intro, background. Yeah, I get you.
Oh yeah, I wanted to know when you took a break. Is this where you really jumped into your producing role?
So no, when I took the break, like I said, at the whole first part of my career, I was also a musician at the time. So super young musician, trying to do music, trying to do wrestling. I always thought in my mind the music thing and the wrestling thing was gonna, because that was kind of like the wrestling character at the time. The bright face paint. He's a musician. He's a rock star. Blah blah blah. It all kind of like worked together. I would even wear paint to some of the music shows and stuff like that. That was my gimmick in music also. So I got booked for an international tour for music, and at the time I was wrestling at other companies and had won some championships at other companies and was starting to learn the business, and I knew some companies were getting ready to push me as a single wrestler. I had won a couple tag team championships at a couple different companies. But anyway, I took the break because of the tour, for one. I was supposed to go on tour. That never manifested because we kept having contract negotiation issues. And then at the time, I was having some financial struggles and stuff like that, too, trying to get my finances settled because I quit my job like 2 weeks before we were supposed to go to China. So I left my job and it just was a lot that happened. So, I moved out of my apartment, and it was like, okay, I got to take a break from wrestling because I got to get, and I never, maybe that whole first year, I thought I was going to probably eventually come back. But the longer I stayed away, I never ended up came back. I actually came back and did one match, and that was supposed to be my last match. But then the following year, somebody in Orlando called me and booked me for a show, and I went and did that Orlando show, and that was really the last match. And yeah, and then if you want to get into the comeback, then I could really that'll really give you the full story of how things happen.
Oh, for sure. Have you always been Najasism? Has that from day one? Have you changed character names?
From day one.
So you just said
from day one.
That part of the.
And, to get back to your real question that you asked about production, I've always done production. That's what I went to college for. But anyway, production is all. Even when I was first wrestling, I was trying to help edit some of the videos for the company and do little stuff like that for PCW. I'd always done graphics and video, but I think I was doing graphics and video when I took the break, but I was still working a 9 to 5. And then I had finally got into printing and graphics, graphic companies. Then in 2018, I started working for a graphic design company downtown. And after about 6 months being there, I just felt like I was wasting my life away. I was there from 8 a.m. to sometimes 6 p.m. and then get home by 8 because of the Atlanta traffic. It just was too much on me, so I decided to go full-time entrepreneur then, and that was that was April of 2018. Decided to go full-fledged entrepreneur, focus on the production company, and then also partner with one of my family members to start an acting school, and kept the acting school going until the pandemic started. And then I shut down because of the pandemic, and right before the pandemic started, that's when I started back training in wrestling. I was only training for one match. It was to come back and do one match. But yeah, the entrepreneur thing led into me starting the acting school. Then when right before the acting school took its break, I got interested in wrestling because of a show it was my first indie show I went to since I stopped wrestling, and I can tell you that story.
So you said a minute ago about the character and how you created them. So you really you're kind of conditioned for entertainment.
I am. I am.
You used a piece of your
real life.
I mean, that's how you make money, folks. Just so you know, don't pretend to be something that you're not. If you're yourself, then it's gonna shine through. I literally, in a way, my character was me, just under a different name. Chronic Chris Page. Your ass is grass, and I'm gonna smoke it. Like it was. I channeled my inner RVD a little bit, way back in the day. But it's so wild to see pieces of the personal life create this character, and now this character comes back. After taking your absence, you come back, you do one match, you get bit by the bug again, and off to the races.
No, it didn't happen that easy. Now it did happen that easy.
Okay, well, tell me, how did it happen?
Now, for one thing, Najasism is me turned up to 3 or 4. But when we get into my new persona that has been critically acclaimed, it's like me on times 10, the critically acclaimed me, but we'll get to that later. But no, my best friend was in town from LA, and my best friend was like, PCW got a new building. They just started up the show. I think PCW had taken a break for a year or two. I'm not sure, because like I said, once I stopped wrestling, I didn't go to indie shows. Like I told you, I'd never been a fan of indie wrestling. Mm-hmm. I've always been a story-driven guy and watched the major promotions. But, I did watch. I started to get more into the indie stuff because I started to see a lot of those guys coming to the black and gold NXT, and it made you want to go, well, let me look at these guys and see what they were before. So that kind of sparked that. But anyway, to me, back to the greatest, the best. Best friend told me to come to the PCW show. Some type of small angle happened with him and the guy who I actually made my comeback match to. It was a little small thing. We sit in the audience, guy came and hit him or whatever, yada, yada, yada. So just from seeing that, I didn't get a bug, but I said, I was watching the entire show, and I was like, you know what? They can move the lights here. They can add something here that'll make this place look better. Oh, and they should put some banners right here. Just sitting there because I saw the potential in the building. So I had talked to the guy at the time, Matt Hankins, that was running the show, and I was like, hey, Matt, I got a couple suggestions, and then I also said, you know what? I think I might come back and do some commentary, a little bit every once in a while. I want to come back and just do commentary. I did commentary, I think, for a couple months, and I would give a few of the wrestlers advice while I watch, their matches and stuff. And I think at the time they didn't know my history or know who I was or, knew what type of wrestler I was. So, everybody wasn't as accepting of my feedback at the time. Now everybody want to get some damn advice, but sitting there doing commentary, I got the bug, and I said, you know what, I'll train a little bit, and I'll come back and do one match. Came up with a story, trained, and oh my God, my first 2 or 3 months, I was falling, doing springboards. It was horrible. Like, I didn't have it anymore, and it took months. That was like 3 months of kind of like, that was January, February, March. Pandemic hit in March. I was training for those 3 months. Then driving down the highway March 16, 2020, this guy truck kind of lost control, went straight into the bed of his truck. He hit another car, totaled knocked the whole front end off my truck. And I was out for 6 months after training for 3 months. The comeback story was done. But then towards, August, September 2020, I started, my back and everything started to get better, started back training. And finally we set the date, the first showing of 2021, January 8th, 2021 comeback match. We had like a 20-minute banger and put him over, and it was a good match. But I think maybe like a month after that, I started to get the itch again. I maybe did like one more match, then maybe like another month I did one more match, and then people from other shows came, like Rick Michaels from Anarchy. He's like, man, you need to come to Anarchy. I was like, oh no. I was like, I'm not in shape for that. Anybody that would ask me to do a show outside of PCW, I would turn it down immediately. I just didn't felt like I didn't felt like I had the cardio to do it. I had a lot of doubt. No matter how good of the matches I was having and stuff like that. Then maybe around June later that year, Todd Sexton was at a show, and Todd was like, hey, you should come try out Southern Fried. He's like, I can use you, blah, blah, blah. Went there, a couple hundred people, tore the house down, and I was like, okay, I might be able to do this. Next thing you know, I hate to keep talking, but right out of that, I wrestled Nick Helen, who was Georgia Wrestler of the Year these past couple of years. I think last year he won Georgia Wrestler of the Year. And then when Matt Hankins and Rick Michaels saw that match when we wrestled at PCW, it was like, you guys should do a best of 7. And I was like, bring back what I started my career with, do something like this. And then I got the idea. I was like, you know what? We shouldn't just do it at PCW. We should do it at multiple promotions. So started to reach out to Pro South, Anarchy, all the different local promotions. And everybody was like, yeah, we'll take a match. So got it at 6 different promotions.
Is this the...
And then that...
I don't mean to step on you. Is this the Owen Knight series?
That happened after me and Nick Helen. Nick Helen and me were 21. So the best of 7 is like my thing now. I guess I turned it into my thing. So after the best of 7, that's when I knew, okay, I want to do this now. Yeah. So literally, it took about 6 or 7 months, and after that 6th or 7th month, I was like, okay, I'm ready now. And then, the best of 7 is something I'm doing annually now. I'm still thinking about who I want to do it with this year, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, I mean, it took 6 or 7 matches, but it was like, I really think it almost sounds like you didn't necessarily maybe not getting bit by the wrestling bug, maybe you got bit by the story bug. Because if you're telling a story,
I love the storytelling. Well, like, that's my favorite part of wrestling. Everybody who knows it, any booker who books me, I'm like, what's the story? What we trying to do? What's our beginning? What's our end? How can we? I want everything that I do to matter. If it's a win, if it's a loss, if it's a segment, if it's the Hoochie Daddy line, whatever, I want it to matter, and I want it to come off entertaining. That's why my group is called The Entertainment. Mm-hmm. Everything we do is supposed to be entertaining.
You were referencing PCW earlier. I just want to make sure that is Platinum, right? Platinum Championship Wrestling.
So yeah, Platinum. That's where I started training. Got to train with. When people don't know why we stick with it, it's where we started. But when we were younger, Davey Richards came, Kyle Matthews came, Austin Creed, like we said, Xavier Woods, Cedric Alexander. So many people came through the PCW door, and then I think of Stephen Platinum as like Paul Heyman, because he gave us the Kool-Aid and we drunk it and we believed in that promotion until this day. Came back, and now I have a big part in the business management of PCW. Matt Hankins stepped away like a year and a half ago, at the end of 2022, kind of, and then that's when I kind of took in the role of marketing business manager and stuff like that. And we have a full team of people, so I know that's kind of out there that people know I have some stake in the company now.
Oh, well, I say, they could always step up themselves if they have a problem, right? Like, if
I'm not worried about that. Nobody's gonna stand up, Daddy. Nobody.
I can't with you right now.
You can.
Oh, I can't.
You're welcome.
No, it's
see, the character just comes back.
To me.
I can let the character go for a second, but he really lives in me, so I can break it down to tell a story.
I want you to.
But the Hoochie Daddy's always here.
I was doing your spotlight video, and I know we're bouncing around.
I'm always in the spotlight, Chris. Always.
Facts, and I can't say that those facts lie, because they don't. You just gotta watch his shit. It's spades.
They can't deny me. They can try. No one's denying me.
You come out in this.
Look, there's 1,000 good wrestlers on the indies. Who gives a fuck if you can do 10 Canadian destroyers? You can't entertain people. All you can do is flip. You understand me? That's why you should hire me, because I'm not just a stupid flipper.
And you're only getting a 2 count off of that, by the way, guys.
And I haven't even had a drink today.
Yeah.
I'm just this crazy all the time.
You come. I'm doing your spotlight. You come out in this. It may not even been a spotlight. It may have been one of the last PCW shows. You sent me a link on. You're like, hey, watch this. And I did. You came out rocking in full Hoochie Daddy, deal, right?
Yeah.
And this is the first time that I've seen Hoochie Daddy turned up, like way up, and like
he never turns down.
Like it's one of the first full shows that I've got to see.
Yeah,
like, usually I'm watching matches of yours, right? Because
so the clips, yeah, I will say that. People don't get a clip. They don't understand the Hoochie Daddy until they watch me wrestle a match. Because, for years people have told me they could never see me as a heel. Now everybody says, I can never see you as a babyface ever again.
So, full crop top. You got entertainment with you. The heat. And I'm watching this video, and I start laughing. And I look dead in the camera. And at this point in time, you haven't seen it, but you will see it. I looked dead at the camera and said, I can't believe you're making me call you Hoochie Daddy. Because that's what I started to refer to.
Everybody has said, I'll never call you that. Everyone calls me that now.
I can't.
Ask Zilla Fatu. Zilla Fatu calls me Hoochie Daddy.
I mean, that's it. That's the moniker.
But let me tell you, so this is a testament to all independent wrestlers, because I've been Najasism for years, as we've said. I've done main events. I put on classic matches with people, best of 7 series and everything. But when you have a character, when you have something your audience can latch on to, there's a huge difference. So, like I said, all these years I've been Najasism. The Hoochie Daddy characters is not really character, but the Hoochie Daddy came out in existence in December 2023. It's only been 4 months, and within 4 months, the notoriety and the the awareness of me 10 times more than it was before then. People are just entertained by Daddy.
I listen. It's a great deal. I'm not gonna call it a gimmick because I don't want to sound disrespectful because it's not a gimmick. It's real.
It's never a gimmick, Chris.
It's fine.
Daddy is real.
It's you've got this whole deal surrounding you. I watched the full show, and I forget. Keep in mind this is probably watching.
But look at here. You mentioned the group, right?
ENT, correct.
Strategically, I didn't want to get 4 old farts or some vets or whatever. Farts. You know what a fart is? You know what a fart is, Chris?
Yes, sir.
That's what I didn't want. I didn't want one of those.
That's me.
So I got my twins, the H-Town hitters, who've been training with me for a few months, and I saw something in them. They got this presence about them. They got this character, something you can't teach. Now the in-ring, we're working on that. It's gonna get better. It's like something.
Now let's talk about those.
It's gonna get better.
Let's talk about it.
But the character, the person. Go ahead.
I just want to tell you this. You just touched on it. I saw them on the show. Again, this is the first full show that I saw, so I got to see the opening segment. I got to see their match. I got to see the main event. Those guys, there's something there. You can tell that they're green, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that
it's the truth.
The more you put into it, the more they're going to get out of it. If they clock in and check in, there is a lot of potential there. Not only
they're very serious about it, and guess what? They're producers. They produced our theme, the ENT's theme, and they also produced my theme. You know who I am, ho.
I thought we were gonna say Hoochie Daddy. That video dropped not too long ago.
No, I did Hoochie Daddy. Yeah. He's so sexy. He's so fly. His face makes you wanna fly. Hoochie Daddy.
It was unreal.
Yeah.
I was not expecting the Disco Inferno deal. Like, you win hands down on that. I think I told you privately when I opened it. Because I wasn't expecting that. That's not what I was expecting.
Who's the best performer and best entertainer here in Georgia? It's me. It's me, Austin. It's me all the time.
Once that beat hit, and then it all clicked at one time. I was like, he's a genius. This guy's a genius. What the fuck, man?
Yes.
And
I have some more remixes coming of theme songs, so you guys are going to be thoroughly entertained. You know what? It should be on a national TV station. Just let me entertain you on TNA. They should call it Total Najasism Action.
That's right. You heard it.
Total Najasism Action.
With PCW, right? I'm gonna get to real. I'm gonna get to real shit for a second.
Sure.
It opened up the door, like for you as a performer, as a talent. It's gotten you involved with every major promotion in Georgia, like Deep South, and that's what I want. So I'm glad you said that. Well,
because a lot of wrestlers in Georgia, they want to get out of Georgia, and I definitely do as much out of Georgia as I can. I'm in Ohio this weekend, but if you can set your at one promotion, one home promotion, really get over, develop your character and stuff at that one home promotion, I think that does help in a sense because being wrestling every 2 weeks and putting out a wrestling television show every 2 weeks has made me be able to go on any show, has allowed me to be able to go on any show in Georgia. Any other show that I've been trying to get on because I've gotten that TV experience. I've gotten to be in front of that camera every 2 weeks, and it's been a learning experience. It really, I wouldn't be on the level I am if I didn't have PCW.
Again, I there's a lot with PCW. I can't wait to start seeing some more shows now. You just got to send me links, and we'll watch them back on Monday nights, bro.
Oh, by the way, this is our last show at the venue. Watch the show. We've been at that venue for 4 years now. This week is our last show there. We're moving to a new location that is super dope, and we haven't told anybody about it yet. We're going to make the announcement at the show this week. So, yeah, you are going to be seeing more and bigger things coming from the company.
Well, that is good news. And by the time this show drops, that announcement will be out, and my lips are until it happens. With it opening up the other doors, Deep South obviously ties with Nick Patrick, Mr. Hamilton.
Deep South and Classic City. Before you even talk about any promotion, Deep South has also been another developmental place for me. Having Nick Patrick's last official match and stuff like that's something I can say I did. That's an impact I had on the business. That's somebody I watched as a child and all that. That is an amazing accomplishment, especially for somebody who didn't expect to ever come back to wrestling. And then Eric, well, he's a heel. He doesn't ever want me to talk about him, but forget about that for him. Classic City is another promotion like that I started with in June of 2022. And man, it's like PCW, Classic, Deep South. Those are my places. That Classic, the atmosphere is always just off the charts. I love working that crowd. And they have a big show in Atlanta on April 6th, and I'm wrestling Martyr. Is his name Danny Martyr?
I was trying to get to that show, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to. It was either that one, and then there's something in Miami later on. I think it's like the 13th or something like that. If I don't make it up to that one, I'm going to make it up to definitely one of the shows coming up, whether it's Deep South or Classic or PCW. I'm going to try and get up there and see you guys. Again, people help.
I'm excited for Martyr because our chemistry was great in the ring when we had a 3-way with Rico Gonzalez. Then at the next Deep South show, big announcement on Wrestling Spiral.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so this is going to be, you understand the level of wrestlers I'm wrestling every week? That's what I just want people to know these are quality opponents who are doing their thing on the indies. Then the week after that, I'm in Florida.
Yep.
Your Hoochie Daddy is starting to be worldwide. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
I just wanted you to know.
Absolutely. The demand is high, right? It's supply and demand.
Yes.
And the Hoochie Daddy is in high demand right now. I mean, there's so much, and I know that we're just kind of bouncing around talking about a whole bit different shit. But
they'll get over it. Just shut up and listen, people. Shut up and listen to your Hoochie Daddy.
He's entertaining, folks. He's entertaining.
We don't have to go in order. We're just going to talk about what we want to talk about. It's our interview.
With see, I don't even call them interviews. I call them conversations at this point because interviews.
This is our conversation. Stupid.
You got a really big opportunity, and I think by the time that we get this aired, the results will be out. I've been looking for them over with Reality of Wrestling with the Last Stand Rumble earlier in March. I had Emily Sims. I talked to her last week. She's one of the announcers at Reality of Wrestling, and I've got another announcer that I'm going to talk to later on after this show drops. What was that experience like for you to get that call? Number one, it was.
It's so much going on right now to the point where I am overwhelmed. I'm like, God, I can't take any more good news. It just keeps coming. But I have to keep in mind, for the past 3 years, it's been a grind. It's like been struggling to get to this point and struggling to get some of the opportunities. To some of them that, I always rise to the occasion because I've just been in these tough positions over the past 3 years, having to be responsible for drawing the house and all that kind of stuff. So
I'll tell you, like I told
Yeah,
Skrilla, like hard work pays off. I told him that'd be a DM.
yeah,
I was like, listen, that's what this is, and truthfully, when we talked to him, on the night, I believe it was the night he found out you guys were going. So it wasn't
yes.
even, it was hush hush at the time. Your
Uh,
announcements weren't even made, and I told him then, and I was like, bro, you guys, and I'm talking about not just you, not just him, Skrilla, you, Naja, the guys that went from Memphis, all the talents that Booker T went out and sought out. Like, you
mhm.
guys should really pat yourselves on the back, because your work ethic and what you're doing in the ring, what you're doing on the microphone, it's being noticed, and it's being noticed by the right fucking people, and you get this big
I'll tell you
opportunity.
this. You made me realize. So when I was told about it, it was just a little anxiety. Like, wow, okay, that's crazy. I didn't think too much of it. I was very proud. We had to keep it hush hush for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna tell you, the moment when the anxiety hit and when the nerves hit was when Reality of Wrestling posted it on their page and posted a picture of me, and they announced I was coming. I was like, oh, okay, this is real now. That's when my nerves kind of like started to, okay. And then the nerves went away because I had so many friends like, what are you nervous for? You should if anybody should never be nervous, it should be you. Shouldn't be you or whatever. And I don't know. I had the nerves. The nerves kind of went away until we walked in the building, and awesome facility. Um, Bathrooms, gym, extra training room with 2 rings. I mean, it's just a state of the art facility, and it's perfect for wrestling. The training session, I kind of had my confidence broke a little bit in the training session because, I felt like I wasn't performing to the best of my ability. As far as endurance, warm ups and stuff, killed that. No problem with warm ups. I wasn't even breathing hard, and that on the altitude match. That's not the issue. But when we got to the psychology and the wrestling stuff, sometimes we get used to wrestling in indie style, and we do things that are very indie-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And Booker broke me out of some of that stuff immediately, and it had me in my head, not in my head in a negative way, but it just had me thinking of ways to do things better. Just 1 2 to 3 hour training session, it just flipped my whole mind on how I want to call stuff moving forward and how I want to. It definitely was 100% one of the most beneficial trips I've ever went on. Yeah, and I showed out in the Rumble. I'll let you be I'll let you see what happened, but I'm very proud of my performance when I got to the back. A lot of compliments. A lot of people was impressed. Important people was impressed. So I was happy with the trip. I'm happy with everything I learned, and I can't wait to go back because they've already said it's not a question of if you're coming back, it's when we are bringing you back. So that's good news, and can't wait to work with them. Can't wait to learn more. Because the Hoochie Daddy, eventually, Narcissism is there right now, but the Hoochie Daddy may show up one of these days.
Hey, when the story calls for it, the Hoochie Daddy will be there to answer that call. Let's just leave it there. But I think that it's absolutely fucking tremendous that you got that piece of information. But I've told people privately, and they're people so if you ask them, they'll probably tell you this. Not on air, off air. Right? Like, I really see there's no reason why, in the next, 2 to 3 years, that you're not somewhere on television weekly. And the same can
Yeah,
be said.
you know what?
I'm
The
listening.
Hoochie Daddy Lounge is the best segment going in wrestling today. So they'll be a fool not to have the Hoochie Daddy Lounge on their show. I don't know what else to tell these people.
I know one of our mutual friends. I've already dropped his name. It was Skrill. I was like, maximize your minutes.
He's not my friend.
Whatever. Well, it's one of my friends. Maximize your minutes.
He's the wrestler that I see in the locker room.
Oh.
I BTA'd him a couple times.
Okay. We're gonna run that back. But it's like, regardless of whatever situation you're in, maximize your minutes, maximize your.
No, that is the theme of reality. That's what that was my mindset going out there. Maximize my minutes. I'm the smallest man in the ring, but after I get out this ring, they're not going to even think about how small I am because I'm going to beat the shit out of some people. I'm going to kick them and punch them very accurately in the face. And you're not going to think about how small the Hoochie Daddy is. You're just going to think about how the Hoochie Daddy whooped ass when he was in the ring. Sorry for the profanity, but the Hoochie Daddy cusses.
Hey,
he doesn't curse.
That's why I clicked no when they ask, "Is this made for children?" So don't worry about that. That's
the cussing Hoochie Daddy, not the cursing. The cussing Hoochie Daddy.
You can
I'm from the South. We cuss.
You can say whatever the fuck you want to say. It's okay. Listen, you have reality of wrestling. I think that is going to be a huge opportunity for you, like real shit. And truly, with the work
I love it.
Put in, it's no. There's no reason why you're not.
You know who I want to wrestle there?
Who? Tell me.
I need Will Allday, their champion.
Oh.
You know, I don't need the belt. I don't want to challenge him for his belt. I think I just want to slap him in the face. You know.
I'll tag him.
I'm taking Russell, and I think he's pretty good in the ring. But, you know, certain people you just want to kick in the face. You know, I think we can make some magic in the ring. So if you're listening, Mr. Allday, the Hoochie Daddy can go all night. So you and everybody watching, I haven't said it once, but you need to stand up and clap for your Hoochie Daddy. Sorry, Chris, I had to give it to you once.
This has now turned into how many times you can pop me, and I understand that. And you're doing a tremendous fucking job. I can't stop cheesing. It's just it's entertaining.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Wait, hold on. Thank you, Hoochie Daddy. Thank you.
There you go. No, we don't thank your Hoochie Daddy. You praise your hoochiness.
Oh, okay. Let me praise thy hoochiness of thy Hoochie Daddy.
There you go. Thy hoochiness, thy.
You better add that into the goddamn line moving forward.
Praise thy hoochiness. Oh, I gotta have an entrance where I come out and then there's girls on their knees. Praise thy hoochiness. Praise thy hoochiness. Praise thy, and they bring me out on the throne.
Some wings or something, some feathers.
And yes, the feathers and the palm trees.
They better have something.
You just giving me an idea. Look what came out of this interview. It's happening.
I mean, listen, I'm a very creative guy. There's a lot.
It's happening.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
With reality of wrestling, obviously we got an opportunity there, and it's great. It's good to see. Going back to the great state of Georgia, we deep south. I want to finish up there, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. When did you start working with the Deep South company, and how did that opportunity come about? Is this one of those where they were like, "Hey, man, we can use you. Do you want to come down and do some stuff?" Or was this more of a, "Hey, man, can I show you some stuff"? Did you hit them up?
Deep South relaunched. I think they relaunched late 2022, 2021. Eric Adams was a wrestler who was coming to PCW. He was wrestling. He was doing commentary, and he told me that they were going to start Deep South back up. I think he was working with Nick Patrick already. They were training people, and they decided that they wanted to start the promotion back up. And I was one of the people he reached out to and say, "Hey, want to get you in the promotion. One of the people I want to build around and all that kind of stuff." And eventually, I think the first match I had was with Skrilla, and beat him. Then that led to us having a no contest match. Then the no contest led into the I Quit match, and that's the story we told her the entire first year of Deep South coming back. That was the story we told the first year, and when they rented out the 7 Stages Theater downtown Atlanta, me and Skrilla's names were on the billboard. Our I Quit match, and that was
brutal.
Quite the experience, and that's one of those things where my career is moving at such a fast pace and so many good things are happening. Just talking about something like that kind of helps bring back those memories and help me not to forget, those little things, because so many good things happen that you forget little small things that really were important. And I'm not calling it small, but when you have that fast-paced career and fast-paced life and you're always traveling, certain things don't feel as important anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, we've been trying to nail down a date for this show for like 3 months, and here we are now. But then that's because, you're, again, Hoochie Daddy's in high demand.
It's been crazy, and I'm not the most organized person. I'm starting to get there. I got me a new scheduling app that I downloaded, but I'm not going to lie. Like, when it comes to my wrestling bookings and stuff like that, I'm not as organized as I should be or want to be, but I'm getting there,
Well, Hoochie Daddy will have an assistant before it's all said and done, so there'll be somebody to take care of that.
I need one. I need a life assistant. They need to assist with the production company and the rest, and they just gonna have to be my assistant. Yeah, 100%.
When you're in that kind of demand, it's one of those.
Oh, please. But one thing I forgot to say about the group, I talked about the H-Town hitters, but all 4 guys are younger guys who have passion, they have talent. Nate mentions his talent, his in-ring skills are going to get better, but his mic skills and the things that he says, that character work is phenomenal. Anyway, DJ has the in-ring skills and he's getting even better in ring, but the group's purpose for DJ is to bring his personality out. The group for the idea for Nate is to bring his in-ring skills up, and then the twins is to bring all their skills up because they're the ones that's been wrestling less than a year. So the group has its purpose. Your Hoochie Daddy is literally the daddy.
Well,
we're teaching, we're educating.
Let's finish talking about ENT then. Let's.
Oh well, that's it. I just want to kind of touch on the purpose of them being in the group with me is to help the skills that they are lacking in and to bring them to the next level. And the group has never been a name that's more fitting of a group. Entertainment, the entertainment, yeah. And like I said, 4 years ago when I came back, I was trying to give advice and people were looking at me like, who the f*** are you? And now I'm training like 15 wrestlers, on a weekly basis. We at PCW, we got quite a few trainees. A lot of my trainees I've gotten booked on some of these shows. Deep South for booking some of my trainees. Classic has had some people I've trained. Yeah, it's a couple of these promotions that are really starting to bring some of my trainees up, and I'm proud that my comeback has not just been about me. I've been able to elevate other talent and get other talents booked and, teach a lot of talents.
Yeah, that would be fundamental, right? To be the Hoochie Daddy, to be on top of the world. Like, you want to train the next stars too. Oh
God, if Nate was here, he would have said a lot of bad stuff. He says the worst stuff out of his mouth. That would not have been a line that he would have let go free.
Well, he's not here, and I am, and
thank God, because he would have said something.
Well,
he was like, yeah. He would. I know what he was saying. Yeah, we would have pounded them till their brains fall out. Or so, he was like, we'd have pounded them raw till their brains fall out their skulls. I'm like, this guy says the craziest. I don't know, but I tell you one thing: this group has brought out his personality, and the reason why I always hear when people like Arn Anderson talk about Brad Armstrong, and they'll say how he was so talented and he was so, how fundamentally sound he was, but in the back, he was this entertaining character that laughed and told all these jokes in the locker room. But when he got on screen, you never saw that personality shine through. So that was what I saw in Nate. Nate always saying the crazy, funny stuff in the locker room and saying I'm like, this is who you so worried about the wrestling stuff out there. I was like, it's never going to be about the wrestling. I was like, if you could do what you do in the locker room, on the mic, in the ring, oh my God, that's money. And, eventually he started coming to me, asking me little advice. And I was like, your character work was better. I'm not paying attention to the in-ring skills. And as soon as that character work started to pick up, he's on every show multiple times. He has the mic in his mouth multiple times at a show. You know, once people find themselves and who they are, the wrestling comes second. But the wrestling is, that needs to be there. But once you find who you are and get a character down, get who you are down, I feel like it's nothing that can stop you. If you're good.
I think that, as far as the group is concerned, I do think that the twins, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? Like they're gonna get it, together. I'll tell you the match that I saw. I think it was a contendership match. It was on the January show.
The triple threat tag match, I think.
Yeah. I don't want to be negative or anything, but that was just not a good match. It just wasn't.
You're not being negative. They're not there yet. But
it wasn't just them. It wasn't just.
I would say that show lit a fire. I will say that's one of those shows that lit a fire under them because they have been training hard and have had a couple matches since then that have been much better, 10 times better. So they're getting better.
I imagine that they will. And the more reps that they put in, the better they're going to be. Let's be fair.
Absolutely.
You can train all you want to, but until you're out there, until you're in front of a crowd, until you really can consume what the fuck is going on around you, and if you're in the ring with people who are, they have to be more put together than you are in order for you to learn, right? I didn't think that they were put in I'll just put it to you this way. I don't think that they were put in a position to succeed in that match. The match that I saw. I don't think the dynamics were right with the other teams involved. I think it was just a miss the whole way around. And you can send your hate tweets to @Fireside Page. I'll answer them. But it's just the truth. It's just the truth. And I really, my goal is to...
What it is, buddy.
What's that?
I said it is what it is. It sucked. They know it sucked, and that's why they got serious after it sucked.
Well, let's see. I want to see the next show. I want to see
it
because I feel like there's stuff there. And with the other cats that are involved in it, I'm just getting to see them. Again, this faction's only been around for 4 months at this point. So we're talking maybe 4 shows that there's character development on. And if I've seen the third, I would imagine that February's is probably out. I should probably find that and see if it's out there at a.
They're on IWTV. Both February shows are on IWTV. Well, one February show is on IWTV. The other one is on YouTube. And then the most recent show is on. It released on IWTV yesterday.
Okay.
Which is a triple threat, no disqualification, hardcore match between your Hoochie Daddy, NWA's Hunter James, and ERC, another homegrown PCW talent. And let's just say there was tables, trash cans, crutches, a TV that I went through. Don't want to talk about that. But just to say it was a pretty good show.
In other words, we need to be watching it. So that's what that sounds like to me.
It's definitely worth watching that main event. It's pretty good. Your Hoochie Daddy's great.
Well, then we're definitely going to be taking.
And also, Lily made an appearance. You know who Lily is?
No.
You'll know who she is at the end of the match.
Okay. Okay. Dude, all right. I got you. I got your nugget there. Your little spoiler. I'll take a peek.
I dropped it. I dropped the Owen Hart.
Uh-oh.
He's the nugget.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I love Owen. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention him earlier in my people.
Influence. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's it. The show's not over.
That WrestleMania 10 match with him and Brett, that's what I knew. I knew I loved me some Owen Hart.
Let me ask you this Owen Hart question. Because there's a lot of debate surrounding this recently.
Is he better than Brett?
No. This is revolving around SummerSlam, the cage match between Brett and Owen. What are your thoughts about the cage match between the two?
I really like them blue match cage matches, but I thought it was decent. I thought it was kind of slow paced at certain points. I can't really remember. I'm not gonna lie, I can't really remember it. I just know it's not one of those matches that stand out. I remember it just being a wrestling match inside of a cage.
So back in the day,
I don't remember.
Back in the day, it was like, oh my God, it's one of the best cage matches ever. Now you fast forward 20 years, and the people are like, the same people who said 20 years ago it's the best cage match of all time. They're like, oh no, it's just terrible. I'm personally
No, it's not a bad match.
no. I think it's the best technically wrestled match inside of a steel cage that
That's
I've
what I
ever
said.
seen
It's
in my
more of a
fucking
wrestling.
life.
That's what I said. I think that's the issue, that it's a wrestling match inside the cage.
I mean, the storytelling is on fucking
Yeah, but
point.
the cage is to keep you inside and to keep people out. So it's never said that it has to be brutal. That's just this. That's just
Stigma.
what cage matches have evolved into.
I still consider it to be one of the greatest cage matches of all time. That's just a me thing. It's not bloody, it's not gory, but it is definitely a technical classic inside of what is a cage. And
I might go back and watch that tonight.
I'm just saying, you won't be disappointed. We talked about Deep South a little bit. We obviously talked about PC.
Oh yeah. I'll say thank you. I want to say thank you to Deep South because that's another reason I kept going. Nick has always been very supportive of me. He compares me to a lot of great people he's refereed and been in the ring with, and that always warms my heart to be compared to some greats. And I'm not going to say who he compares me to, but I'm just very thankful when somebody says crazy stuff like that about me. You know, I feel like I have my own little style, and I take from multiple different people to make up who I am. Being the Deep South champion, that was that was great. You know, that was a great experience last year. It was unexpected. You know, right now I can't challenge for the belt. Me and Skrilla had our final battle, and whoever lost couldn't challenge each other. But you know, I think there's some type of conspiracy going on. But I'm sure he'll lose that championship eventually. He's not going to be a champ forever. And as soon as he loses that championship, I'll be the next person in line. Because there's nobody greater, better than the Hoochie Daddy.
Facts. I don't lie.
You know what? I haven't had to be Hoochie Daddy at Deep South. I probably will never have to be the Hoochie Daddy. Because the Hoochie Daddy is always there out of necessity. Mm-hmm. You know, all these screw jobs, all these promoters not handling and treating me like the star I am. But Deep South, they treat me perfectly fine. So I don't think I'll ever have to bring the Hoochie Daddy there. You know? Ever.
I mean, you know.
I said ever, Chris.
Shit could happen. You never say never. You're in this business, you never say never. Let's talk a little classic city wrestling, if you don't mind, for just a few minutes.
Love it.
Let's give them a little bit of shine here.
When I started at Classic, it was my first match at Classic was my first time ever wrestling Owen Night. I think that was June of 2022. Yeah, and I had a double shot that night. Earlier in that night, at 7:00, I wrestled. I like at 7:15, I wrestled Carly Bravo. Mm-hmm. ROH is Carly Bravo.
Yes, sir. Infantry.
AEW. And then I drove 30 minutes. That was in Monroe, Georgia. Then I drove 30 minutes to Athens, and me and Owen wrestled like 30 minutes after I got there, and we immediately, I just knew I had chemistry with this guy. I was like, and that was when they were just doing Southern Brewing, this brewing company. But after that match, that's how the Best of 7 got forged. And that's the 2022-2023 Best of 7. It started, our first match was at PCW. Then the second match was at Classic, which was our second time wrestling at Classic. And boy, when I watched that match back, me and him have watched that match back. And when I watch it back, I'm like, I can't even believe this is me wrestling. You know, some of the stuff we was doing, I was like, I never thought about even calling. You know, sometimes I watch myself, I was like, how do we call that or whatever. But every time I wrestle there, it's like an out-of-body experience. You know, the atmosphere is always great. The crowd is just always lively. And it's because of the venue. You're at a bar. People have a few drinks in their system. It's a live band. And like I said, they have their big show at Terminus on April 6th in Atlanta. And I can't wait. And I said, what did I call Martyr earlier? Mm-hmm. I don't know who I was calling him, but I know it's Robert Martyr. I just can't wait. He's just such a good technician. I just can't wait for that match.
I got introduced to Classic City Wrestling, obviously doing research on all of the guys that I've been honored enough to have conversations with, because again, that's one thing I've seen from Georgia, especially with, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody out there, but what I see as some of the main players in Georgia, there's several companies that you float between. You're doing business everywhere with these guys. And Owen is, I guess he's still the Classic City Wrestling Champion.
And I said, how can I talk about Classic and Owen and not talk about just a few months ago in 2023, we sold out Eastern in downtown Atlanta. I know it seats like 2,000 people, but whatever. But me and Owen sold, we sold out as many times as we wrestled. We'd already had the best of 7. We'd already had one match after the best of 7. We ended up having that match for the Classic City Championship in front of, the thousands of people. That's a testament of our story and how that best of 7 was just an ideal. I messaged him on Instagram asking would he would be interested in doing it. He said, yeah. And, there we go. 6 promotions again. 7 matches.
I have been fortunate enough to see all 7 of them. I've seen the series.
Just hearing that is amazing that somebody watched all 7 of those matches. That's crazy.
I have to do a little bit of homework, right? And part of what I was talking to or setting up to talk to Owen, and of course you had sent me match number 2 specifically. So, it's like fucking any trilogy or series, you don't want to start in the middle. You want to start at the beginning. And you want to see the whole story play out. So I've seen them all. I've talked about a couple of side projects that I'll talk to you about when we get off air and see if you're interested in them. With Owen and a couple of others based on what I have seen. And based on the structure of these matches. And what I've told Owen, same thing I'll tell you. No match was the same. Everything was a little bit different in every match that played out. Some were more fast-paced, some were more high-flying, some were more technical. Every match had a different element to it. And when you got to matches 6 and 7, I got pissed off. I got mad, but it worked. Why I got mad, it was watching the story play out. And I was like, okay, 1, 2, this is over. First of all, I didn't know 6.
I know he was like, "What the hell?
I didn't know
Why
6.
Would they do
I didn't know 6 was going to end in like 40 seconds. Like I was like, here we go, yada yada yada, and it was done. And I went, wait, whoa, hang on, what the fuck did I
exactly?
And then it ended, climactically with the back-to-back falls, the back-to-back matches, and it's the chemistry that you have, right? And we'll use Owen as the example here in this best of 7 as the example. It's just a testament to kind of both of you guys to get in there. And I don't know if you were calling it in the ring. I couldn't tell. It looked like to me that it was very organic, and the matches were the flow of the match was very organic. And when you can get something past somebody who has watched wrestling and been a part of it for as long as I have, I think it's a testament. So if you were calling spots, I didn't see it. It was I can't say that for a lot of people. I can see the stuff.
A lot of it just happens. Once you get comfortable with somebody you wrestled them 7 times, you don't have to talk about everything. You don't have to call every single thing. One thing I got more intentional on after leaving reality wrestling, calling stuff different and what I call and what I don't call, and what I plan and what I don't plan. I'm not going to release all the secrets, but yeah. And with him, definitely the chemistry was where we can, it's a chemistry. Our styles mesh really well. I never like to wrestle people my size or do the whole fast-paced back and forth match like that. I'd love to tell the big man, little man story. I love that. That's just my favorite story to tell. Yeah, I just love the BTA. I love the Hoochie Daddy. I love to be more technical. If you watch my heat, If you watch when I wrestle as the Hoochie Daddy, it's like that's when all my technical ability come out. I may do one or two high flying moves in the match, but my focus more is my precision and technical abilities when I'm the Hoochie Daddy.
So wrapping things up with Classic City, you did the feud with Owen, which was really that spanned every company in Georgia. I would imagine, minus a handful, but I think that hit just about every major promotion in the state. So shout out to you for that.
But the match that when we talk about Classic, the match that might be a match of the year candidate here in Georgia, we got to talk about this past January 2024. Rico Gonzalez and me, we just, man, what a freaking match. You talk about an out-of-body experience. You can hear when people in the crowd are filming on their phones, as you know, I've heard the clips, like people are just like going extremely insane. Like they're having, it just sounds like they're having out-of-body experiences. Like it's just watching the clips are cool, but just hearing the people and seeing their faces and how they're putting their hands in their faces, that is the moment. It's a good feeling to take a crowd on a roller coaster ride like this, because that's what you're getting. They're thinking they think we're going down the hill, and all of a sudden, whoa, we back up, and they think we're going up, then all of a sudden we drop. It's just that's the match. So that's one match. If you want to go watch a match of mine from this 2024. The match with Rico Gonzalez at Classic City, that's a good one.
Brother, he's going to be on the show. I'm working with him as we speak on a couple of projects, and I can't wait. And I actually was going to bring him up later on in the show as a potential opponent I would like to see you face. And I didn't know that you had already touched.
Boy, that match was so good. I can't wait to wrestle him again.
Okay, no, I'm gonna have to seek that one out specifically because I'm a big fan of his too. Again, exposure from just stumbling across people and stumbling across people's work and seeing.
He was one of the people I wanted to do the best of 7 with this year, but his schedule won't permit it, and then maybe my schedule won't either. But I'm still figuring out who before this year is up, we're going to have the 2024 best of 7 set.
I'm here for it. Let's go over to Intense Wrestling, Intense Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, I'm new there. There's a lot of people there who I've feuded with, Owen Skrilla, and it's new territory for me, but I had my debut match in January and against Chad Skywalker, and I was told we tore the house down. It was one of those matches that really was right there at the top of the show, you know what I'm saying? So I think it was a great performance, and I was supposed to be there the day that we went to Reality of Wrestling was the next show for me there, and we were supposed to be both I and Skrilla, but we had to, go to Houston, Texas, and grace them with our presence, so we didn't get to do it. But coming back in May, I'm excited to see what direction we're gonna go. I just know they better do right by me, because if they don't, you know who will show up, Chris, don't you?
Well, that would be the Hoochie Daddy.
Exactly.
That's
and they don't want
Hoochie Daddy.
They don't want the Hoochie Daddy and 3 letters to follow me. Come there. Uh-oh. And them 3 letters are ENT. Yeah.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Mm-hmm. There's a lot, man. You have been tremendous, actually. From your career standpoint, both inside the ring and outside of the ring. Real shit, getting in there and being able to train some of these younger guys coming in. First of all, what made you really want to tackle that? Because it's a huge responsibility, right? Like let's be fair, because it's not just you training somebody; it's your name on this person for the rest of their career.
It's not a necessity, We were training. and it just got to the point where it was the same 5 or 6 people there every week when we're training, religiously training every week. And as I said, we had a shift in management and stuff with PCW, and just wanted to get more business-like with everything. That's from training. We got the training commercials out, the website up. We turned it into a business, and I just was getting so good in training. And while we were having practice, I would give little advice, tips there and here and there. And then maybe one day this trainer can't come, so I'll run a practice. Then one day this trainer can't come, then I'll run a practice. Next thing that's Naj's day. He runs practice on that day. And my day is kind of like the advanced day where we really get to it. We don't do a lot of beginner stuff, but we even have 15-year-olds training now. We got 2 15-year-olds training. We got a couple females, got a couple guys, and now that we're moving to our newer facility that's closer to Atlanta, which we'll announce on Friday, we have the potential to grab a bunch of new trainees because we're in a new area that's a highly trafficked area with other businesses.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the closer you get to the city, the less the commute. And I've been fortunate enough to live in Atlanta and know very much about how long it takes to get somewhere. At that point in time, there were 9 million people in the city of Atlanta. I don't know what that number is now, but it's up there. That's got to draw more dollars. That's got to get you more asses and seats.
Well, that's the goal. Move to a better area with more traffic, more people. We can generate more partnerships, being closer to the city. It's just an all-around better move for us. And yeah, we're looking for podcasts. We're looking for different companies within the wrestling industry to partner with, to work with. We've already started working with a couple different podcasts and everything, but we are looking to really expand to continue to be one of those wrestling promotions that you have to attend when you come to Georgia. We're not. I hate how all these promotions think they're in competition with each other here in Georgia. I'm like, you're in a whole different city. You're 2 hours away, and we're not running on the same night. I don't feel like we're competition.
Well, I mean, that doesn't make
work together.
I was about to say that chaps my ass about anything that I hear when it comes to someone having to be better than the other. Like you're all wrestling with, you're representing Georgia, right?
It's not about. They have to know it's not about being better. It's about being different and having something that your audience latches onto, because wrestling is, like we always say, it's like a circus, it's like a carnival, it's something for everyone. So no one show has everything someone is going to like. Like our show may have too many talk segments. Some people might not want to be entertained that much. Our show may have too much gaga, whatever you want to call it. Our show may not have enough hardcore stuff or enough fast-paced wrestling. Somebody might look at a show like Deep South and say, oh, I don't like the way they have the commentary live, or I don't like that their show is outside, or somebody may look at something else like, oh, they don't have enough new faces, they stick with it. Whatever, there's always going to be something someone doesn't like about a particular show. So that's why there are choices. You can go to this show on this day if you like this better. We can all support each other and work together. And I don't know if I mentioned this, 2 years ago, that was one reason why I kind of started the awards, the Georgia Wrestling History Awards, the annual awards show. Started the awards show because I felt like, hey, they had been doing the call-in on the phone thing every year, and the award winners just get a phone call and they do it over the air, a little podcast. It didn't feel special. So, it didn't feel like so I was like, we need an event. We need red carpet. We need catered food. We need this. We need live music, blah, blah, blah. And, not many people thought it was going to be a success. It was a success in 2023. It was a success in 2024. And we're on our way to 2025. for the third annual Georgia Wrestling Awards show. So I'm proud of that. That's one other thing that I forgot to mention that I've kind of put into motion since I've started back wrestling. And, you know, a lot of leadership things is like me just jumping in. It's not like, oh, I plan to be in charge of this or I plan to be a leader when it comes to this. Certain things happen out of necessity, and I'm observing, and as I observe, I'm like, this needs to be changed, or this needs to be done, this can be done. And you know, sometimes it just takes someone saying that and bringing a team together to make it happen. And you know, I'm always the ones to kind of just jump in and do things when I think it needs to be done.
I completely can agree with that mentality. We have totally what is it, grassroots this whole movement on our channel here. We started with nothing, and here we are, and look at where we're going, and it's tremendous. That I say that to say one of the last questions I've got for you. You know, what's your next 5 years look like for the Hoochie Daddy?
Mm-hmm.
What's it look like?
My next year at 5 years looks like traveling the world wrestling. Would love to. That's pretty much travel. I've wrestled in quite a few different countries. Hopefully get on someone's TV show for the next 3 to 4 years or whatever. Everything next 3 to 5 years on someone's show, and then once the 5 years is up, maybe it's more of production, backstage role, the business side of things. Who knows? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm already in the business side of things, but maybe it's on a bigger level. I don't know.
It seems like the next logical step for you, if it ever came into getting away from in front of the camera with your knack for production in your own company. I mean, it seems like a natural fit.
And then one thing I also enjoy is developing characters. So character development
that's facts.
Is a big character development is a big thing for me because I taught acting. I've worked with people and all of that crap. So I would love to be able to help develop some characters for some younger wrestlers too. I just want to, at the end of my journey with wrestling, I want to say I helped a lot of people, I influenced a lot of people, and I made money doing it. So if that making money entails traveling the world the next 3 to 5 years and wrestling for one of the bigger companies, then hopefully that's what happens. You know,
I definitely.
I feel like I put in all the work. Now somebody just needs to take a chance on me, I guess.
Hard work pays off. And I say that wholeheartedly, and obviously, you're on radars. Clearly, there's a lot. Your future's bright. It's there. You have all the tools. You have everything that you need to be a success. And what I enjoy about, excuse me, the business now versus what it was back then. It was still very much, a big man's game. Nowadays, that shit doesn't matter because once you get what you can do in between those ropes and the story that you can tell, and if you can draw the audience in, if you get a reaction, does your opponent get the reaction? Does the match get the reaction? If all those answers are yes, then you're doing your job and you're doing something right. And you, sir, do that every time you step into the ring from what I have seen thus far. So I really appreciate the fact that you took time, especially after knowing your weekend, to sit down with me and talk a little bit, a little bit about you and your career and where you're going to be and the things that you're doing. It's tremendous. The last thing I've got for you, I promise this will be the last one. I said I prefaced it at the beginning of the show. Give me a list, names that you can think of right now that I may not know, that I need to go out and find, like as far as watching some of their stuff.
You put a spotlight on me.
I'll preface it with this: if he doesn't name you, it's because he didn't really know until literally this show that I was going to ask this question. And you can DM me if there's anybody you don't think of. So if you don't give him shit, you can come talk to me.
Oh, I don't give a damn about these people. They'll be all right. The Hoochie Daddy will mention who he wants to mention. I'll mention no one if I don't want to mention
That's
anyone.
a very good point.
Exactly. Oh gosh, it really did put me on the spot. I guess I can just talk about. I'll just mention some people who train with me,
Okay.
who in a year or two really be where they should be at. Deion Summers.
Okay. Yep.
Um,
It's already on my radar.
J Alpha. Yeah, J Alpha Miller. He's a younger military vet that we've been working with for about a year at PCW. He's getting good. A young talent that I wrestled a couple, maybe like a little over a month ago, and we had a good little match. Can't wait to wrestle him again. Grayson Pierce. And then, let me see, one more. I can't think of anybody else right now. Sorry, guys.
That's fine. That's fine. You gave me a lot to go off of because Deion Summers, I've already reached out to him. I saw him through the PCW show that you provided me to watch. That's how I came across him, and I was like, he's got something.
He's delusional, Chris. He thinks it's summertime all year round. He's an idiot. He doesn't know. He doesn't know it's spring. He's an idiot. Do you know this idiot says it's summertime in the winter? He's a fool. Why would you interview him, Chris? Why would you interview the fool?
I see potential. I see a lot in him. I see a lot in, and that's the.
You know what? You can see potential in a crackhead. That doesn't mean they're gonna do a shit with the potential.
Well,
what did Rock say? Go ahead and smoke your crack.
Don't be mean. Come on, it's not that bad.
Deion. So here's the tidbit. I'm with Deion a lot. We work out together and stuff like that, and he's very serious about it. The meal prepping, the protein every day. He's very serious and dedicated. And I don't mind because I've had a lot of trainees and I've had someone who's disappointed me, but I don't mind sowing knowledge into and working with anybody who's taking it serious. So that's why I can say I'm going to help anybody who I know is serious about their craft and serious about what they're doing. And for those who aren't, stop fucking calling my phone. Don't call me. Don't ask me for help anymore. Your Hoochie Daddy's not, please. Losers.
I am going to definitely take a peek at some of those other names that you dropped to see what I can find out there, and I'm going to watch them, and I'm going to see what they've got. Because again, this is why we do this. It's about independent wrestling. So everybody wants to get to the grand stage. If you're not in the business for that, that's. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Although there is a really good living on the independent market right now, I truly think that the indies are thriving all over the world. I've had the opportunity to talk to talents from all over the world, and I'm hearing the same thing. That the most success that is being found is when those are working together and they're working collectively. And that's within companies, that's within the talent, in the back. And the cream is what rises to the top. And you, sir, are part of that cream that is rising and rising and rising. You're going to hit that spot, and you're just going to... And when it happens, all bets are off. It's there.
You're right.
I know. I figured that sir. He broke out the championship, and he's got his award. Oh.
You know what this award for, Chris?
Tell me.
Can you read what this award is for?
I cannot. Oh, brother, I'm way far back. Technical Wrestler of the Year. Got it.
God damn it! You better say it, Chris. You're a Hoochie Daddy. Is your Georgia 2023 Technical Wrestler of the Year. Technical Wrestler of the Year. And they thought I was just a high flyer, but then I started making them tap out because I'm great.
Facts.
Really good, Chris. Really. Tell them how good I am.
Listen, I don't have to tell them how good you are. If they want to know, all they got to do is ask. They don't even have to ask. They just have to listen.
Just look at Keisha.
Oh,
Keisha should be. By the way, this is Keisha.
Hey, Keisha. It's nice to meet you.
She's the PCW, and you know who Keisha was made by?
Who?
She was made by Reggie Parks. You know?
Hey.
Yeah, Keisha was made by Reggie Parks.
Hey, Keisha. Nice to meet you. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah, exactly. And if Lily wasn't in the car, you would meet her. But you'll see Lily when you watch the most recent episode of PCW.
No spoilers. No spoilers. I want to see
PCW last time.
PCW.
Oh no, that was Last Chance. Yeah, Last Chance on IWTV. PCW Last Chance. Yeah, last time is this week because it's our last show. You know.
I got one more question for you, and I know I've said this twice, so you have to forgive
Ask
me.
the question, Chris. Ask it. Ask.
2024. Give me some
2024.
names that you want to be in the ring with, that you'd like to see yourself get in the ring with.
Well, I mentioned the Will Allday earlier.
Sure.
He can last all day, but I last all night, baby. Now, but you know, when I think about matches and I think about who people would love to see me wrestle, I'm gonna call this guy out. If you aren't afraid of your Hoochie daddy, sounds like we'll have a conversation, Leo Rush.
Oh, okay. So you want to get in the ring with Mr. Rush?
We'll see what it does.
Okay. I know that he's on an international tour right now, but I'll make that. Well,
He can be where he want to be. The Hoochie daddy.
I hear you.
When you get back from your little tour, daddy will be waiting.
All right then. All right, that would be fire. I'd actually love to see you and Leo Rush in the ring. That would be tremendous. I could see the styles right
Yeah, it'll be fire. I'll be putting him in the oven because I'll be cooking. Your Hoochie daddy will be cooking, stirring it up, dropping bodies, breaking bodies, doing what I do. Oh, Mr. Rush, I want to fight you.
Sir, you have been tremendous. I want to thank you again for your time.
You're welcome. And I'll be back. I'll be back to grace your little audience, people. They need to go follow my Instagram at the THE Najasism. NAJASISM. Follow me, people. Love me, people. Watch my videos. I have millions of views. I have one video that's 5 million. I have 2 million. 1 million. I have thousands of views because your Hoochie daddy is marketable. Your Hoochie daddy is who you need on your screen. Stand up and clap. Because we're going to end it on this note. For your Hoochie daddy.
Guys and gals, I don't know what else to say other than we'll be back next week. This has been an experience. It's one that I will never forget. I appreciate it. Good sir. We'll see you next week.